Good afternoon and welcome to another video with a guy and his projects. You're not my projects. Today we are doing the upper control arms on this 2004 Nissan Titan. I'm pretty sure, don't know this for a fact, but all the Titans are the same except the XD all the way up to infinity because they never change anything. So this should be somewhat applicable no matter what year you have, give or take, unless it's 2020 plus. That might be a different, actually, I don't know. Anywho, we're replacing the upper control arms. I actually already filmed an intro. I was going to do the lower control arms as well, but I think those are actually in really good shape. The upper control arms are currently kind of, well, let me show you. Let me show you the one that I just took out on the passenger side. So the ball joint on the passenger side is actually good. There's really no play. The boot was ripped. So that's not good, but other than that, the ball joint's in good shape. The reason I actually replaced it is because of these bushings. So you can see how wiggly that is. That bushing is shot, and it was causing a lot of squeaking. And well, obviously you don't want shot bushings. So that's why I replaced this one, and then this one on the other side was the same way. So no good. So, like I said, I bought lower control arms as well, but looking at them on the truck, they actually look really good, so I'm not going to replace those. Not yet anyway. We'll drive around with new upper control arms, see what happens, and we may or may not end up going and doing the lowers. For now, this video is the uppers. This is a pretty easy job, not too exciting. The only thing that makes it hard is just getting your hands in there, but it's doable. I did the passenger side first because it's easier. That way I can film the driver's side, which looks like it's going to be a little bit more difficult, so that you guys can't accuse me of saying, well, stop filming the easy side. So we're going to film the hard side and get started. Yes, it's hard to access, but it's not hard to do. You just got to have a little patience. I have a 2-post lift that we just installed. I spent several $1,000s on this, so I'm going to use it. You don't have to. You can use a floor jack just fine. Not a big deal. We're using this because I spent money to use it, so I'm going to use it. Access is the same. I just don't have to bend down as much as you're going to have to bend down. I only have 9-foot ceilings, so I'm still going to have to bend a little bit, but nowhere near as much as you. So we're going to get started. Alright, so I broke my other light and I'm forced to use this one at the moment. Creates a lot of shadows. Don't really have a way of aiming it down here, but we're going to see what we can do. So first, couple things to note. You're only taking apart 3 bolts. That's it. You're taking apart this one on the ball joint. So you're going to have to clean that off, remove the cotter pin, and then you're going to take off this bolt right here and this bolt right here. Now on the passenger side, these were kind of a pain in the butt to get to. You could really only use wrenches. I couldn't get a ratchet in there, so I had to do a wrench and a wrench, which was a pain in the butt. So I ended up doubling up on my wrenches for leverage to get these undone, because these are torqued to quite an impressive amount of torque. So this is the nut right here, and that's a 19 millimeter. And the head of the bolt is on this side, and that's a 17 millimeter. Same thing on this side, only the bolt's backwards. You got the bolt on this side, which is 17, and the nut on the following side, which is a 19. I don't know how much you're going to see because there's not really much room to do anything in there, but I'm going to show you the couple tricks that you probably want to know. But yeah, so the bolt on this side is going to swing back. You do have these brake lines right here. Yeah, brake lines. They're hard lines, but you can move them. Just don't kink them and don't leave them touching each other because they'll vibrate and you're going to lose your brakes eventually. Just kind of gently move them out of the way. Over here, you have your ABS sensor wire, which is clipped in place. You can either break that clip or just deal with it. We're going to try and deal with it, see how things go. And then you got your steering rack right here. Not your rack, but your steering rods over here to get your wrench in. I forgot about that. I got an intake. I forgot all about that. That's going to ruin things for me. So I put this air dam, if you remember that video, because I put a Volant air intake in here, and this is going to cause me some issues right now. I can see that. But if you don't have that there, you can get a wrench in there. I forgot all about putting that sucker there. So what we might end up doing is, this is riveted in place, this little tiny piece right here. I might go ahead and just rip this little piece off just so I have room. So we're clearly not actually drilling out the rivets, we're just melting the plastic, but that's okay. All right, we're just ripping it off. Yeah! That opens a lot more area up for rust, which I actually don't like. But it also opens up this area for us to get that air scoop out of here without having to take the whole air box off, which I like. So we are going to potentially keep it like this. This gives us a lot more access for room too. In fact, right now I'm going to say I highly recommend pulling that off. Glue it back in, screw it back in, or just leave it off indefinitely, but this gives you way more room to move. Passenger side, I had nowhere close to this much room. We are going to do this one first. I'm going to sneak a wrench up in here somehow. Okay, so that's right there, solidly in place. To tighten this would be clockwise, so we're going to go down. Oh good, we get leverage. All right, so we're going to try and sneak a ratchet in here with a short socket, which happens to give us enough room. Okay, extend this. Maybe. Little by little. I think that just broke off. Or we just broke whatever. Oh, that's the air box. We might just broke the air box. Let's tighten this back up and see. Alright, decision made. We're taking off this air dam. Or the air scoop. Why do I keep calling it an air dam? It's an air scoop. Alright, that's out of the way, so now we should have room. Then maybe we can put a ratchet on both sides. So now we're going to get a 19er in on the nut side. So we got a 2-foot breaker bar on that side, and this needs to go up for loosen. And that loosens just fine. Don't tell me we broke it loose and didn't realize it. All right, so we were going that way for tighten, so we need to go down over here. So somebody really just got this one tightened up, which is what it's supposed to be. The torque spec's actually insanely high. Okay, nut is more or less free. What up? Now we'll get the other side. All right, we'll wait to pull the bolt out. Well, one, it might not want to come out. Two, let's get this side loosened first before we get overly excited. So over here, your wrench is going to fit in just like that, and I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm going to put my 19mm wrench on this side. So we're going to grab our extender wrench, which just happens to be a 32mm because that's what I grabbed. And to go up, we're just going to do this. Can you see that? Yep, interlock them, and then you'll go up. Now I don't have enough room because my extension's too long, so let me grab a shorter one. Let me grab something like a 24mm. Okay, so at this point, you need to leave one of these nuts on a little bit. And we're gonna attack this little bad boy right here. So this, you got your cotter pin. As somebody bent over in a 90, which everybody has their own style, that's fine. I'm actually thinking about doing this going forward because it does look cleaner. And it's less of a pain in the butt to get back out. Okay, and then we're gonna kind of just push this through as much as we can. There we go. Cotter pin's out. If you get lucky, it'll spin right off. Alright, so something to note, especially when it's this muddy, get this nut all the way off, and then we're going to put it back on. Okay, make sure it comes off, beat out the threads, and then put a couple threads back on. And then, I just have a 3-pound sledge. I'm just going to whack it right there, and then that's going to pop out. It's going to catch this from falling all the way down on you unexpected like. And now we can pull this up. Okay, so now you got your brake lines hanging on this, so don't go too all rambunctious here. So now we can go ahead and remove the rest of this nut. If your fingers are strong enough, if not, you're gonna have to use your tools. Okay, so there's that nut. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove our bolts. Steering rack's a little bit in the way, but you can squish it out of the way. And then your other side, same thing. So this, I have no idea what you can see because of the glare from the light, is what I'm talking about with the brake line hitting. So it's running into this brake line. Yeah, these bushings are toast as well, man. So we're just gonna bust this nut off here. Okay, now I should be able to move this a lot easier. and there's that bolt. Now your control arm, slide right out. So you can see on this one as well, yeah, this one just has bed. That is not good. It also has a bunch of side-to-side play. Now it'll have a little play, but you can see the rubber in there. It's completely cracked away. So now we're going to grab our new one from over here. All right, so now we can sneak these in. I don't know if you're supposed to or not. I always just take a little bit of grease and push them inside the bushings. I think it's helpful, but I don't know. All right, and this doesn't want to go into place. We're gonna have to hammer it in. Try and sneak this bolt back through before I adjust the other side. I'm gonna pull this brake line forward, boom, just like that. So yes, I would recommend undoing that brake line there. Highly recommend. All the grease ends up shooting out with the bolt, so I don't know if it actually even helps. In fact, some people will probably even tell you don't do it because it'll trap dirt. In my opinion, if the dirt gets in there, it's stuck in there whether there's grease in there or not. So that's where I'm at. I'm not a professional. Okay, so now I'm going to put the nut on so I don't lose my bolt in all the progress. I'm not tightening it down, I'm just getting it to where it's finger tight. And then on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. So something that is important to note that a lot of you guys have lost sleep over in my previous videos and I'm trying to adapt because a lot of you guys seem to say it, so you must be right. If you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook and you're commenting, that's pretty much means you're right? I don't know. So I've done some research, don't really know because the research was like 2 minutes worth of Googling, but your guys' theory is, I used to just tighten these control arms right here, but then when you go into ride height, put the tire on the ground, it goes up to there, and then because the bushings are so tight, they're trying to force your tire back down and put you out of alignment. That's what you guys are telling me. And you very well might be right. So we're going to tighten these down most of the way, and then I'm going to pick this up to about ride height, and we're going to tighten it the rest of the way, okay? That way your bushings are set at an equal, your bushings are set there, and that's where they want to ride rather than up here or down here or anywhere else. So that's the goal here. So we're going to sneak our 19mm wrench up in here, and our 17 right here. Okay. It's getting to the point where she's getting tight. We'll move back over here. All right, so that's snug on both sides, but we can still move it. So we'll tighten it right about there. Before we do that, I want to get this brake line in place so I don't forget it later. So, you're gonna have to aim it back in place because we bent it out of the way. Something right there, it looks like. I think we got it. Bingo. So then we're going to go ahead and tighten this right about there to the best of our ability to 1,000,000 foot-pounds. So we know this is hard as hell to undo, so we're going to make it as hard to hell to undo again. Yeah. Something right there. Okay. Now I got to do the same thing on this side. I'm really curious how they do this at the dealers. If you work for a dealer, let me know how you guys do this. Special tool. Same way I'm doing it. You take everything else on the truck apart. Let's see if we can get this just a little bit more without bending a rat. Whew. I think that's about as tight as she's going to get today. So before you get too excited about being done, we still got to get this nut on. All this grease and crap, yuckiness, that needs to come off. So I'm going to grab a towel and clean this sucker off. You don't want no unwelcome guests like dirt in your system. All right, now we're going to grab some brake clean. Make sure this is all nice and up. Now the fun part begins. Undo your castle nut, pull off your shipping protector. All right, so now the goal is to get the dongle in the hole. If you've never heard that before, I'm sorry. But you're gonna get the thingy through the hole, and then you're gonna put a nut on the other side. If that sounds like an acrobatic trick, it about is, because this thing weighs a crap ton, you're fighting the spring. So the best way I found to do this is actually to drop the vehicle down, and then use a jack and pick up the control arm to meet. That's what we're gonna do. get your castle nut ready, because you're going to want to do this real fast. You're just going to pinch this together with the best you can. All right, once you're on a few threads, you can relax. Grab your socket and your ratchet. Before we let this thing relax, we're going to tighten this up. Last thing you want it to do is pop back out. Now we're going to tighten this up. Once you get pretty freaking tight, just look for the hole. If you can't go any tighter, you might have to back it off. There's the hole. We're going to try and get one more across. It should be right about there. Moog sends them with a new cotter pin, as they should. Like I said before, we're going to stick it in from this side. And then we're just going to grab the tabs and twist them over. This isn't holding anything on. This is not part of the system. All this does is keep this nut from backing off for whatever reason. So don't get too carried away. Don't get overly excited. Just put it on and bend it over. Now we are done here. I'm gonna put a scoop in. Don't know if this actually does anything, but it came with the kit. I want a couple dollars more to get this version. So that's why we have it. Still need to figure out how it's supposed to mount. I've just been kind of making it up. And we're just going to tighten this clamp. Looks like I got it quite crooked last time. We're going to try and get it straight this time. So we got our air scoop back in place. We took our whatever hose this is, I don't even know honestly. We zip tied that back in place here. Everything's good. We're torqued down as much as we can here. We got our ball joint in place. We're ready to put the tire on. Very awkward. Stuff on Google say these are 98 foot-pound torques. Alright guys, that's really all there is to replacing your front upper control arms. Like I said in the beginning, it's not hard, it's just a pain in the butt. There is a difference. Hard is hard, pain in the butt is just hard to get to, I guess would be the best way to put it. So those bolts, the control arm bolts are a pain. Yes, they are, but you can do it. They should be extremely tight from the factory. If they're not, that means somebody else got in there or there's something wrong. And you need to make them extremely tight going back in too. But with those bushings being toast, I'm glad we got in there. I was going to do lower control arms at the same time. At this point, I'm thinking I'm not. We might drive this around a little bit and see if it solved our issues. And if it did, great. If not, then we'll tackle the lower control arms. When you do the upper control arms, personally speaking, I'm not an expert. I don't see a reason to go in for an alignment. No part of that is adjustable, so it's not alignable. So I think we're okay on alignment. If you do the lower control arms, you should probably go in and get an alignment done afterwards, because that does play a dramatic effect in your alignment. So yeah, kind of a pain in the butt, but it's doable. Basic hand tools I just use. Maybe a torque wrench if you want to try and get in there and actually torque these to factory spec, which I did not do. I just torqued them as hard as I could. And that's where they're going to stay for now. So that's about where we're at. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, keep watching them, keep coming back for more. We got a lot of videos coming for this Titan, and there's a lot of them out there, so I know a lot of you guys will be interested. Stay tuned. We'll see you later.